Donald Trump is going to face trial for his efforts to steal the last presidential election. As the clock counts down to the next presidential election, with the prosecution seeking a speedy trial, the Trump 2024 campaign is basically like the O.J. Bronco chase at this point, just running for his own freedom. To quote Maggie Haberman in the New York Times, it bears repeating Trump's advisors are blunt privately. Their goal is for Trump to win the election in part so the cases can be disappeared by the Trump Justice Department. Michelle Goldberg is an opinion columnist in the New York Times. Elie Mystal, the justice correspondent for The Nation, where he recently wrote about the stakes of this Trump indictment. They join me now. Your headline, Ellie, for Trump, the stakes of the 2024 election just became win or go to jail. Trump's only defense these charges is, I'm about to be president again. Once that's off the table, he's got nothing else to fall back on. I felt the big takeaway from the arraignment today was everyone's on the same page on this. There's not even really much pretense otherwise. Is it going to happen early enough? What was your takeaway by the dates exchange and the fact that that was brought up in the arraignment?
Yeah, so Trump's campaign for president is now not a campaign for president, it's a prison break.
Yeah.
And the question is simply, can he get out before the federales catch up with him, right? The hearing was really nice today because what it shows is that the magistrate judge and the actual judge, Judge Tanya Chutkan, they are in cahoots, they are in sync, and it looks like they are going to try to move this as fast as possible, and that is encouraging, but we are talking about putting a former president on trial in under 15 months. And even if you think that somehow the trial goes off sometime early next year, you've got the conviction, you've got the sentencing process, you've got the appeals to that process. There's just no legitimate way, I don't think, that Trump actually ends up in jail before the election, which means he is going to have the opportunity to free himself from jail by winning the presidency.
So I totally agree with that, but here's where I think I'm slightly more bullish on the timeline. Based on everything Smith has done and Chutkan's reputation as a serious judge, and the understanding that it's important for the public for this man to be tried before the election. Not the least of which for the Republican Party, honestly. I really feel like it's fairest to do it in December so they can know if they're voting for a guy who's convicted of a felony. That a trial happening before the general election now seems to me a real possibility, even a probability in a way it didn't before.
Yeah, a trial in which one of the other candidates, albeit not a particularly serious one, is going to testify, right? His vice president is going to testify against him. I mean, it seems like there's very little way around that. What I find so frustrating is that because these are the stakes, what I find so frightening, I should say, is because these are the stakes, not just for Trump, but for the country. Think about what he did both in 2016 and then 2020, right? The reason that he's going on trial in New York, it might seem like a trifling case in comparison, but it was also about breaking the law to get elected in 2016. If he broke the law to stay in office in 2020. In both of these cases, what was at stake was only his own ego. Now what's at stake is his own freedom. So just imagine he has no incentive to be restrained by the law in any regard, because either he wins and he kind of assumes dictatorial powers, or he loses and he goes to prison.
I'll add two more to that. I mean, just to your point there, and it's an important one. The New York case is about crimes he committed in pursuit of being elected, right? That are alleged to transpired. This is about crimes he considered in pursuit of staying in power despite being unelected. The first impeachment was about official misconduct in pursuit of being reelected. And the case brought by Robert Mueller, in which he indicted none other than Evgeny Prigozhin, was for conspiracy to defraud the U.S., which was a criminal case against the criminal sabotage undertaken by the Russian government on Donald Trump's behalf in 2016. So, there's a lot of election-associated crimes.
Oh, absolutely. But I think we also need to talk about the complete punkness of the Republican Party. Yeah. Because one of the reasons why we're here is because none of the Republicans really have the stones to stand up and talk about how this man shouldn't be the nominee of their party. Chris, if a Democratic frontrunner was under 2 federal indictments, there would be a line of their opponents outside your door waiting for their 5 minutes to get up here and talk about how much they don't like the Democratic frontrunner. But the Republicans are so weak and so enthralled to Donald Trump that they are going to let this twice indicted person run their party.
I also